bodies. So, what we are, we are what we are not, and we are a witness. These three questions we have been understanding the answers of these three questions from the teachings of the Eastern wisdom. What we are not. So we have been covering the first part that we are not the three bodies. The greater the clarity that we have what we are not, I know with a clarity that neighbor house is not mine. Finished. And then I'm natural and casual. Same way, if I know I am not the physical body, I am not the subtle body, and I am not the causal body, then what happens? We find that the mind continues. It wants to know what we are, who we are. The moment we do not know that we are not the subtle body, causal body, and the physical body, we deprive ourselves of peace and happiness. Let me put it that way. How I deprive myself? When I do not know that I'm not the physical body. You see a simple example, oh, brandy is so beautiful, I am not. I have deprived. Finish. We fall prey to limitations, ignorance, emotional dependence. We no longer remain creative. The intellect is veiled by the jealousy, hatred, anxiety, duality, and a conflict. Mind becomes the boss. Internally, we remain uncontrolled. And that uncontrolled person in me can become uncontrolled outside at any time. Are you getting it? Once you declare that you are none of these three bodies, not the physical, why? Because everyone is smart here as compared to me. So when I say me, I'm referring to the physical body. And I maintain my awareness. Same way, the subtle body, the mind and intellect. Same way, causal body is creating a problem. You are becoming a cause of my uncontrolled emotion. No more. I am none of them. We fall prey to the limitations. And that results into ignorance, emotional dependence, and suffering. So that's what I have been saying. What I've been saying. Not why I'm not saying you already know that, Everything as it is in Eastern wisdom, the master have passed on this. So what is that? What is that? That I'm none of these three bodies. I'm picking up the last point from the causal body that needs to be understood, and that causes a lot of problems. Last time, do you remember that I told you the New Age movement has started by explaining differently the causal body? Sam, you are going to be a coach, so you should know, oh, this New Age movement is different. No, it's not different. All have come from the Eastern place. So what is important to know that we are none of these three bodies? Who knows it? Who knows in me? My intellect. How it knows? By discernment and dispassion. So you see the root of this journey, that I should refine, I should shine, I should make the intellect sharp as possible. Do you still remember we don't need IQ? We don't need IQ. We need a common sense. How many people who have a greater IQ committed suicide at the young age? What point I'm making? Because mind lives in confusion. Habitually, it declares that I am these three bodies. The intellect should come with discernment and dispassion. So when we are, I'm just combining all the things, summarizing. So you have to think of it, contemplate, and reflect. So when I start living in the power of discernment and dispassion, I recognize what is untruth that does not exist, what is truth that always exists, yesterday, today, tomorrow. Pure consciousness. That is real self. Uh, what uh, Jerry and other people have presented last time while sharing the experiences. So then what is causing me the problem? It is false. That appears true, but it is not true. I've been repeating it. That is one definition of delusion. In India, we say, everything is delusion. And then I start, even we claim that even the money is delusion. So give all the money to me if it is a delusion. Why you are keeping it? But sometimes when you overstretch without discernment, then you suffer. You continue to have a conflict in you. So from there, do you remember that with the power of discernment and dispassion, we understand that we have to use the righteous intellect in daily personal, professional, social activities. We have to use the dispassion intellect in order to get out of the uncontrolled emotions in me. And I have to use the love intellect to crush and destroy this ego. And then comes the real journey of the self discovery. That is what we are talking about. And then what happens? Do you still remember the four powers of intellect? The power of faith. Once you contemplate and reflect every day, the time comes you wake up in the morning and you have an awareness that I am something different from these three bodies. And that will give you such a deep sense of calmness and the peace. You're not depriving your mind from the peace, happiness, love, and wisdom. We have been talking about causal body. So with that introduction, I repeat it, but now where comes the confusion? Confusion comes, I want to know the causal body clearly. Huh? So is it a mystery? No, it is not a mystery. We simply say it is inexplicable. It cannot be explained. We know that it cannot be explained. How come? How come? Take an example of a tree. From where the tree manifested from the seed. So when the seed became the seed is gone. Now you cannot see the seed. So you can also put an argument and a reasoning that causal body expresses itself into the subtle body, then into an action through the physical body. So now this causal body, if it is like a seed, then it should go. It is done. Once I practice meditation, once done, and it is done. So our master says that causal body is not like a seed. It cannot be finished so easily. It contains millions and billions of impressions. When I give a lesson, you are happy. That happiness first is experienced into the subtle body, and then the happiness becomes a seed in the causal body. Now you have millions of seeds of happiness that replaces unhappiness. Are you getting? No, I know, I understand what the meditation is. Yes, understand. So why didn't I see the stress on your face if you have understood? Through electricity, though electricity is the cause for various electrical appliances, they exist independent of electricity. I'm talking about causal body. Maybe in a previous session, your mind thought that this guy is crazy, so that created an impression in the subtle body, and it is accumulated in the causal body. Appliances do not perish without electricity. They carry out their intended functions only if the electricity is provided. Without electricity, they do not function. You know it, but they do not disintegrate. Body, physical body. I'm talking about the physical body and the causal body. They do not disintegrate. Therefore, the causal body cannot be explained with any kind of examples. This is the reason for it cannot be explained. So when many philosophers in the West, and especially in US, perhaps it started, I think you guys knows that maybe David, Gary, and Brandy knows the New Age movement started with that understanding, that knowledge of the causal body, in US and also in Europe. So what it means, we say clearly that this causal body has no parents and still it exists. We are going for a higher level of dispassion. You need an awareness. Do not start moving your mind in a different way. Somebody else. It is beginningless. It exists from the beginning. Causal body is without parents. Causal body contains positive and the negative. It contains millions of impressions that are positive. That is why you are listening to me. Your ego has nothing to do with it. You may claim that you are listening to me. No. Master says, no, it is not possible. Force. Pause. We can give a rough example that, from where you are, well, I came from my parents. The earth is formed out of Big Bang. We always try to find out there is a cause of everything that exists. But for the causal body, no such thing can be attributed. Are you getting it? We know that the causal body cannot be explained. I'll give you a couple of more examples. It will blow your mind. When I'm making a statement, the moment you bypass the causal body, there is no difference between the individual self and the supreme self. What did I say? If this causal body does not exist, means you bypass, you transcend. You discover that real self is nothing but the supreme self. That's why we don't talk about the God. We say, let us discover first who we are. What is the supreme self? All pervading, immanent, permanent peace, happiness, love, and wisdom. It is because of the causal body I say that I'm an individual self. Anastasia, don't be in a hurry. There is no instant solution. I know you ask beautiful questions, but learn step by step. Now, another question that you need to contemplate. How this individual self exists. And if the individual self really exists, then the supreme self is different from the real self. Right? So if you are an engineer, so this is an inner engineering. This is not outer engineering. So that is why, if you remember, what is false that appears true, but it is not true. Do you still have a question? Oh, I am a real self, and that real self is the supreme self. When I transcend the three bodies, I realize that is where the awakening takes place. So, simple answer. Let us solve this mystery. The false is the individual self I consider with reference to the physical body, subtle body, and cosmic. I'm going slowly. When we take the false self and the real self as one, then only we say, I am the body. When the false and the real self are taken together in the mind, false cannot be separate from the real. Did you understand it? No. Let us make an example, simple example. Again, I'm giving you a pot. This is made up of the steel. Is this flask or a pot is different from the steel? Answer is no. Okay, no, it is different from the steel. So let me take the steel out of it. Will this pot exist? That is why. That is why it is because of the causal body, subtle body, physical body. I take the false as a real. I take the individual consciousness as a real. And then I add millions of attributes. No, I'm still sweet 16, I'm smart, I'm intelligent, you see, all with reference to the physical body, subtle body, and the causal body. You remove all of them, what is left? There is no individual self. There is no false self. I'm the supreme self. But I identify myself with the physical body, with the causal body, with the subtle body. As long as we do it, we live in ignorance. Ignorance does not exist. Darkness does not exist. The individual self does not exist. Individual self exists, so to say, for transactional reality. You are David, I'm Girish, you are Barbara. We are having a virtual session. We find those divisions only for the sake of convenience. My house number is 730. For what it means? It means nothing. Can you put it 745? Can you put only 7? Yes. It's a matter of convenience. My name, my physical body, my causal body is always for the sake of convenience. I told you that the false in the real self, our mind takes the false in the real self is one. What it means? It means we see the body and we say, I am the body. False and the real are taken together in the mind. False means these three bodies cannot exist without the real self. That is the final argument our master gives. Think of it. Can the blueness exist without the sky? If there is sky, is it? Can the water exist without the mirage, without the sand or desert? What is ignorance now? Why we want to know we are none of these three bodies? On the real self is a superimposition of the causal body, then the subtle body, and the physical body. Superimposition. You remove that superimposition, what is left is the real self. And what is the real self is permanent peace, happiness, love, and wisdom. We are of the nature of real self. I concluded very fast, but then we will understand why we will have another deeper understanding with reference to our experiences. When we understand that we are none of the 5 sheets, 5 coverings. So these 3 bodies are explained with, in terms of the 5 bodies, 5 sheet, 5 covering. It is something like the sun is here. You have a yellow film, red film, blue film, etc., etc. But it is only because of the real self. On the real self, all these 5 sheets are superimposed. Why I said so? I seem to be mindful, so when I make a statement, so I explain why it feels so, why superimposed. Because of the superimposition, I feel that I enjoy eating pasta. I like it. It gives me happiness. That is why I experience my honey gives me happiness. I'm not so much rude. It doesn't mean that you simply go to honey and you said, you cannot give me happiness. I heard from the beer guy. But that will not work. Some of my Indian students have done it a couple of years back, and it backfired them. And they came back again. They joined the session again. I don't want to name them. They are present here in this session. You see, that is the beauty of this journey. Step by step, we should remove that layer, ignorance. We should remove that superimposition. Because of that superimposition, it creates the likes and dislikes by default. Are you getting it? It just causes, why I like pasta, I don't have any reason. Why I like chicken, or why I like a particular dress, why I like yellow color, why I like red color. Why I like coffee, why I like or dislike tea. What is the reason? Causal body. It cannot be explained. It is beginningless. It has no parentage. It has no parentage. Message is clear that when you see any superimposition is depriving you peace and happiness, that is ignorance, and that causal body has no cause at all. It is beginningless. Leave there and start discovering peace and happiness. So now I'm doing it. And why you keep that impression that, you inserted me 10 years ago and I still remember causal body? Look at it. How light your mind becomes when you realize this. And you drop that sense of anxiety, reaction, and the impressions that you carry forward for so many years. Is it necessary to carry forward those impressions of likes and dislikes, reaction, anxiety, duality, conflict? You deprive yourself of peace and happiness. That understanding should be settled through regular contemplation, reflection, and the regular practice. One day, what will happen? That now no more superimposition. When you see, for a matter of convenience, it is a flask, but it is tea. You see that? For a matter of convenience, this is Girish. Otherwise, you live into that state. Yeah, you're getting a little flash of what exactly is awakening. But mind it, I want to be very clear to you all. When we talk of the New Age community or New Age movement in the West, they are not clear. And they start creating a lot of hallucinations. I don't want to go into it, otherwise their profession will be in danger. Oh, I will, clear this chakra, clear that chakra. So chakra in India, in Hindi, means confusion. You are confused. That is one meaning of this. Don't get confused. Don't create any sense of ignorance in you. Be 100% clear. You live into that awareness, you rise in consciousness. Forget about those chakras. Okay, let us start. See that how these works, these mantras in them.